This is Moshe Rothschild from the Global Israel Alliance. Hope you're all having a great week. I just returned from an amazing trip, and regards to all those new people I just met in Tulsa who are joining us on this broadcast. This week, two Israeli law students were attacked in Warsaw. They were at a club, and apparently there were a group of Arabs from Qatar who heard them speaking Hebrew and began shouting obscenities and attacked them. This week as well, the Israeli Foreign Ministry announced that there will be a freeze on activities due to a budget shortfall. Now, this is not a good thing because the foreign ministry has a lot to do with Israel's image out there. And I know we are having a conference in Tulsa on December 8th, and I invited the consul general, who's based in Houston, and actually said he couldn't come. So there we see a result of this. He couldn't come because they didn't have the budget for it. So this is not a good thing that Israel's foreign ministry announced this. This week, a 17-year-old and his father, a 60-year-old, were on their way to a dentist in the Palestinian village of Azun, and they were attacked. And the Palestinian dentist came out of his clinic and saved their lives, which is fantastic. Except for him, when this made it into social media, this Palestinian dentist now is facing threats from the Palestinian community for saving a Jew. This week, in Syria, the opposition forces are reporting that at least 18 people have been killed in an aerial attack targeting pro-Iranian militias in Syria. The IDF said that the pro-Iranian militias in Syria made a failed attempt to launch missiles at Israel, and this was a response to that. President Donald Trump tweeted that John Bolton will no longer be the national security advisor, and he was asked to resign. Bolton strongly disagreed with many of Donald Trump's policies, and we are. Here in Israel, it isn't considered the greatest thing because John Bolton was a very staunch supporter of Israel. He actually spoke this summer in July at the Christians United for Israel conference in Washington. So we'll see what happens, who becomes the new national security advisor. In an election update, the latest polls have the Likud, which is Benjamin Netanyahu's party, in the lead slightly over the blue and white party, and the right-wing parties seem to still have a lead, but the election will be this Tuesday in Israel, September 17th, so should be interesting. Rockets were fired this week from Gaza into Israel. What's new, you'll ask? Israel responded, and after when the siren went off in Ashdod, which is just north of Gaza, our Prime Minister Netanyahu was giving a speech, and he was forced off the stage to go into a bomb shelter. Now, of course, those who oppose the prime minister here said, oh, he showed great weakness. In my opinion, quite the opposite. He was leading by example, that there are unfortunately many people in Israel, when the siren goes off, don't run to the bomb shelter. And by demonstrating by example that you need to run to the bomb shelter when the siren goes off, I think it was a great thing, not at all a show of weakness. This week, Netanyahu, in a bombshell announcement, announced that today, here's a quote, "Today I announced my intention, after the establishment of a new government, to apply Israel's sovereignty to the Jordan Valley and the northern Dead Sea. This is a historic opportunity, a one-time opportunity to extend Israeli sovereignty on our settlements in Judea and Samaria, and also on other important regions for our security, for our heritage, and our future." This is a huge, huge announcement that parts of Judea and Samaria will be annexed after the election. Now, of course, the cynics amongst us said that this was done in order to secure his right-wing base in the election. But what is most fascinating is that the Israeli prime minister said that he had informed the White House prior to making this announcement, and that someone in the White House had said said off the record that Netanyahu's plan does not impinge on Trump's peace process, so-called deal of the century. So as Netanyahu said, quote, "That's saying a lot." meaning that the United States seems to support this decision to annex parts of Judea and Samaria, which is really extraordinary. Another example why the Trump administration is the greatest administration vis-a-vis Israel that we've ever had. Now, just to end in a feel-good story, the bone marrow registry in Israel has just reached an amazing milestone of 2,000 IDF soldiers have donated their stem cells to save 2,000 patients around the world. So they're not only protecting the citizens of the state of Israel, but also globally those whose lives depend on the stem cell transplantation. So I believe that in the army in Israel, the soldiers are required to be tested and entered into the registry. So that's an amazing story. Wishing you all a Shabbat Shalom, a great week, and we'll see what happens in the election this coming Tuesday. Very exciting. And remember, if you'd like to help the cause of the Global Israel Alliance, you can go to our website, israelalliance.org, and feel free to donate. Have a great Shabbat, wonderful week. This is Moshe Rothschild, the Global Israel Alliance.